So now we'll get to the halachas of the choyves habedika. What is mechiv b'medika? So let me make an hagdoma. There's 3 dargas of macholam, which 3 dargas. There's the one darga which is called muchzik b'taluam. What is it called? Muchzik b'taluam means it has. You know what? Let's start from the Lushna Rambam, and we'll go from there. The Rambam looks like this: Kol mina peiris shedarkem lahasliya. The derech is it become wormy kishem mechuburim when it's mechuber. Why do the Rambam like mechuber? Because last week, if you remember, we spoke that a pyre which gets wormy only when it's betulish, only when it's took down from the tree. If the worm did not move from the place, it got created in the peach, and it didn't move, didn't come out, it's nicht osser. Only because the Torah says sheres hasheres ala uretz. Only when it became wormy when it is on the tree. So therefore, that's called sheres ala uretz because the tree is on the earth. So therefore, my zuk dramam kol mina peiris shedarkem lasliya. The derech is lasliya. Kashem mechuburim when it's mechiber. Lo yoichel achieve the kapri. You shouldn't eat it till you are boiling that tree. Mitoiche shem yesh boi talas. Maybe I have over there talas. That's the Lushna Rambam. And this is also how the Rashba says that a pyre which is darkem lasliya, then it is a problem. The Rashba says so. Jede pyre which is darkem lasliya, you have to be boidik. What is his raya? From where does he see it? He brings a raya from the Gemara says. Hanna tamre the kade, the tamre which is in the kad, in the chuvias, treiser yalche shate shura. That means if it is after 12 months, it is okay because we have a klal that a beria after 12 months does not get spitzels. It's sigurish. It's sigait. Lo miskayim. So therefore, so the Gemara that after 12 months is nothing. So give them the Rashba, we talked 12 months. We see you cannot eat a tumor. A tumor is a fig. You cannot eat a tumor because you are afraid what?
Fig or date?
Tumor is a date. Yeah. So we see that a date which is in the 12 months, you have to be boidig because that's darke lasliya. This is the Rashba's raya. So wird gepasst noch die Shechanorich Simon Paidal, which this is the Simon of Tola'im. The Rashba says, the Shechanorich says, Kol mina peiris shedarkem lahasliya b'mechiba le'yochel shiyivdik apri. You have to be boidik. Now, when it says darke lahasliya, it means 2 things. It means roif pu'umim. There is worm inside, which is called michzik b'talum. Michzik b'talum. In such a case, when it's a michzik b'taluam, is a chiyaf boidig zam midoraisa. Midoraisa, was a michzik b'taluam, is as if so tachzuk so taluam, and therefore is mechiyam boidig zam midoraisa. Then, and it also means darken laslim is also macholam, which is only sometimes leitim it becomes wormy. That man auch boidig zam. If it's a midamotzi, aber dem is the chiyaf no midrabunan. So again, we have pyres which you don't have to be boidik at all, because it's ein darken lasliya. Then they have pyres which is darken lasliya. That means it's midrabona, which is a meat hamotzi. We're going to see what it means meat hamotzi. Then there's a higher darga, which is a chim raisa, which is called muchzik betalum. It's muchzik betalum sikili sivada du talum. What is the gather of Michzik Betalum? Michzik Betalum, the highest level, with Sachim Edaraisa. Is Michzik Betalum means if it has most of the time, Roiv or a Mechza is called Michzik Betalum. That means any fruit, any machel, which is 50% is going to be worm, it's called Michzik Betalum, and it's Mechiv Tzibod Gizam Midaraisa. What is lower than 50%? Yeah? What is lower? So, Kim the Rivosh, and it says, as long as it's not 50%, it's Kurev 50%, Rivosh Simon Kif Tzadik Aleph, even though it's 49%, it's going to be wormy, it's only called Meat Hamotzi. And it's no more the rice, it's only a Drabona. Again, the Drabona Abrachalsboy gesagt, but that's called Meat Hamotzi till 50%, even 49%, that's called Meat Hamotzi. Now, this is a big killer. That means 49% is only Medrabunan. It's a big killer because there's a big difference if it's a rice of Drabuna, we're going to see soon. But Akaponam, aber das ist all Rivash. The Chassam Sofer gives an other gator of Meat Hamotzi, because on the Meat Hamotzi there's a big machloikis what the gator is. So again, I brought you the biggest killer, which is the Rivash, till 50%. The Chassam Sofer gives a different gator. Chassam Sofer in Yerdai Siman Ayin Zayin says like this. The gator is Shchiach, a lot Shchiach, and it's Rugel. A lot Shchiach and it's Rugel. I'm going to quote you the lotion, was is very wichtig. Afilla einaine royes. Even if we see roiv bismanam b'mekoimam hachama shchiach harachash. Even though we see food, which in the gewisse tzad, because we have to remember, a worm is not always, summer is more than winter. But we have a time which is roiv zman. There is worm. And roiv mekoimus is wormy. Afile beroiv chuvius, avaloiv beloiv pyrus. I want to quote the Lush because that's very important. Avaloiv beloiv pyrus. V'im yivde kol pyre b'fnei atzma iya roiv beloiv toila is the snor Meat Hamotzi. Zug dich sam sofer azavot. If you have, for instance, let's make it in packs of rice. You have 20 packs of rice. Now you're going to be boidik. 20 packs of rice, you're going to see it's a bit of schwere rice. Let me give a different motion, because the rice is a bit of a problem. I'll get you to soon in a minute why. You have 20 packs of dates. You're going to be boidik. Most of the packs of the dates has a toilet. You're going to find over the room. That means from the 20, most of them is going to be wormy.
So it's like...
But let's keep it with questions later. But when you're going to check every date, roiv are not going to be wormy.
So 11 packages, yes. But
11 packages you're going to find, but if you're going to take every pyre, you are not going to find in every pyre. That means most of the pyres is going to be clean. Zug dich sam sofer, that's not called michzik betalum. That's the lower darge. It's not a draise. It's only meat. It's called Meat Hamotzi. So sachiv bikdike, aber it's not a drabunan. Why? Because rough pyrus is nicht mirdik. What is the gader? Schwer zu geben a gader. I saw some achronim wants to say that this might go even till 30%, 25, 30%. Then, although in every package, aber safkesafs nicht rough pyrus is clean, that will be fine.
So till 30%, not till 50%.
Not of it, he goes down. Then comes the famous Mishkanas Yankov. Mishkanas Yankov is a long achieve on this. With the Mishkanas Yankov wird da ist Yid Zayin. He said 10%. If it has less than 10%, it's not Meat Hamotzi. If it has 10%, it's Meat Hamotzi. It's already Meat Hamotzi. Not 30%. Again, according to the Ravash, what is Meat Hamotzi? 49%. Kurev le mechze. According to the Chassam Sofer,
and lower.
No, not in lower. That when it's closer to mechze al mechze. If it's 30% lower the Ravash, it's not necessarily Meat Hamotzi. One second. The Chassam Sofer goes down. That Meat Hamotzi starts already much lower. 25%, 30%. The Mishkanas Yankov wants to say, Meat Hamotzi starts already for them. If you have 10% of the food which has worm, that's called Meat Hamotzi, is mechiv boid gesam mit Rabbanan. Less than 10% is mechiv to boid gesam.
What about more?
More is Meat Hamotzi. Now, from 10% till 50%, it's called Meat Hamotzi. From 50% and higher, that's michzik betalum. which is shana deraisa. But he says that once it's mita mutzi, once it's 10% mita mutzi, what is his raya? He brings the raya. The Gemara says that when a person sells wine, he has to check the balance of wine if it didn't get sour. 3 times a year he has to check the barrels if it's not chometz. Zukt of them dort in the Gemara that Gemara in Basra, if he sells 100 barrels of wine, 10% could be sour. That means azoifel is der moich der koine ready to accept that it 10%. So von dem bringt er sich Haraya that 10% heißt Amita Mutzi. Dat heißt Amita Mutzi. Less than 10% ist nicht Amita Mutzi. Bringt noch Reis von anderen Gemurres, so lange Tschiva bringt noch Reis, aber sucht, wenn du seht man, als sagt, als 10% heißt Mita Mutzi. Mishknes Yankov. Then comes Rav Osner. Rav Osner goes out on a limb against Mishknes Yankov and it says, you have a raya from the Gemara that 10% Mita Mutzi, but you don't have a raya that less than 10% it's not Mita Mutzi. Because according to the Mishknes Yankov, if it's only 9%, 8%, it's not Mita Mutzi. You don't have to be boidik. Even with the Rabuna, you have to be boidik. So he asks, what is the raya? You have a raya that 10% is Mita Mutzi. But what is the raya that less than 10% is Mita Mutzi? It is not Mita Mutzi.
Because the Gemara is example of 10%.
The what?
The Gemara is example of 10%.
The Gemara's example is not Valtalon. The Gemara's example is Bachoymat. But so he wants to show it that those heißt Mutzi, and that's why he accepts to take it. So the Mishkan wants to tell that of Azoifel im Masken. Zukt of dem Ravos, es ist nicht kein Raya. Es kann sein, aber wann, Azoifel ist already a Mensch Masken sein, aber in Concept für Mita Mutzi kann sein even less, a lower percent.
So why did you say 10% or 9%?
Weil das ist der, also wie ich gesagt habe, weggestellt, a Stiss, ist bei Heunua, also wie viel das ein Mensch machen, möglich sein, haben gesagt, weggestellt, das 10%. Du stand Ravosner. Im Meile Tanter, bringt sich auch der Purayes, hat starke Reis Ravosner, bringt der Raya Amud. The Gemara says that after Leidi, you have to be boidik animal, risik Iverim. Yeah, after risik Iverim. Because it fell down from the animal, risik Iverim. Fragt do you think that 1 out of 10 have risik Iverim by animals? 1 out of 10 after birth has risik Iverim, aber da nicht. Why would they have to be boidik? Boidik means because it's a mitamutzi. It's called gabatrifas. So, or he brings the idea. Go in and say that you have to be boidik shochtam. Yeah, if then mimch. Yeah. Chotchik in somewhere a klal in Gemara. Rav Matziyim Eitzel Schchit in mimchimi. That's a Gemara first klal in the first 7 Shechanorach here daya. Rav Matziyim Eitzel Schchit in mimchimi. It's only a miat which is without boidik zan. So he asks, wait a minute, is du 10% Schachtem, was nicht kann Mimchem? Aber das ist eine kleine Prozent. And even those who going on the avoiding zan. So we see we have to be boidik even less than, because that's also called midamutz. So therefore he wants to say another gader. And it's very popular gader. He wants to say, the gader is that whenever I'm going to be boidik, the food which I have, I will find worm. That's called mita motzi. It's motzi to find. Every time I'm going to be boidik, I'm going to find worm. Then heißt mita motzi. In percent, schwer percent, aber es kommt aus Berech about 4%, 5%, der Gegend heißt es. 4-5% are mita motzi. Im ist Mechiv schon mit der Rabbun boidik gesagt. So low, also will der Rabbun nicht gehen. He's more machbar. The what? We'll get to the package. This is the next shlaf. Ich will kommen the percentage. That means according to Rav Osner, what?
Percent of what?
Of percent what percent? That means 4 or 5% is menuguim, and the rest till 100% is clean. Don't mind 4%. We'll get to this in a minute. That's why ich will us divide. So by him in his cheshbon is 4 or 5%. It is already mita mutzi. Now, let me just make it clear. By instance, in Shechtos, in the Shchita, all the Shchitas, which we're not boidik tzimas agidin, in David Elliott or in Agri, we're not boidik tzimas agidin every time. Tzimas agidin is a zach, which is, you don't have to be boidik constantly. Only when there's a mita mutzi, then you have to be boidik. So how does it work? Every day in the morning, the chickens. Every day you have to boil on chickens. If there is 3% problems, then the whole day, the rest of the day, they're going to check every chicken. Because that's already considered mita mutzi. You heard? Here's in the Chimra. Andere Plätze sind immer eibig boidig. So now I say in the last few years, that's boidig alle Zimmers again. Aber bei uns in Chabad, hat man es keinmal nicht getan. In der Sache andere Plätze nicht. Meile, so that's the chip. So we are machbar 3% already. So we are passing, so to speak, a kapunem about chickens. 3% is called mita mutzi. So a bisschen over Ravosen, even a bisschen mehr machen wir Ravosen. So we have again, let me just make it sum it up. We have a shitta, the Rivash which says that means 49% is mita mutzi, because 50 already shemichzik bitalom. According to the Chsam Sofer, schwer zu sagen the Geder, but some say it's about 25-30%. From then and up, that means from 25% until 50 is mita mutzi, and lower is not even mita mutzi. According to Mishkan Yankov, 10% starts mita mutzi, and up till 49%, till 50% is shemichzik bitalom. Less than 10% is nicht kafel mita mutzi, and medach shboidig zan. According to Rav Osner, is about 4-5% is berich mita mutzi, and by us, by chickens, but Simas again is 3%. Okay, so wieso you pass him?
The Vivash says from 0 to 49?
The what?
The Vivash says from 0 to 49?
No. 49%. Kurev le mechze. He's the biggest killer. Yeah, the biggest
You're
killer.
never gonna have mita mutzi according to him.
The what?
You're never gonna have a mita mutzi according to him.
Yeah, about 48-49%, that's mita mutzi.
You give to 50.
Yeah. 1 till 50, yeah. Okay, so how do you pass him? Now, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach passed us clearly 10%. Like the Mishkan Yankov. According to Rav Elyashiv and Reb Chaim Kanievsky, habe ich gesehen zwei different Plätze. One place writes, I'm going to tell you clear, one place is B'dikas Etlum from Rava, he wants to write that Rav Elyashiv and Rav Elyashiv and Reb Chaim Kanievsky both hold it's about 4-5%. Also Rav Osner about 4-5%. But I checked, there's a new sefer came out from Harav Karf, one from the Merurus in Israel. He's called Bashmeres Habayis. He writes, I asked Rav Elyashiv said, also you could rely on the Mishkan Yankov. Now you have to remember the Mishkan Yankov is a chimra. But Rav Osner, when he fights against the Mishkan Yankov, he holds it's to be killer. But the aids in the Mishkan Yankov is a killer. Al chimra, he wants to lower it down from the Chsam Sofer and from the Rivash. So Lamasa, I think when there's a machloikis, there's no in it to be machmer, and usually when ich hab, as the Shlomo Zalman says, right clear as 10%. Rav Elyashiv and then Reb Chaim Kanievsky writes in the cipher. Habe ich gesehen, one cipher brings B'Shem, but then I looked in Derech HaMinah, in the Master Shiny, he writes clearly 10%. So 10%, and this is how the national organizations go. Let me just make it clear. All the national organizations, the Kashrus national organizations, is the Geder 10%. If it has 10%, it's mita mutzi. Less than 10%, not mita mutzi. That is, now, a person wants to be a machmer, liyachmer la'atzmer. But akaponim, this is this that we, till 10%, we will say, now again, I wasn't will hold not like this, but again, that's ungenehm in of them kemen guy. Them kemen, for even the CRC, Silas Rabunam, till lately, they used to work 10%. I heard now they changed, maybe they went down, but that's the kid. Okay. Now, let's go to the second question. How do we, that's the biggest question, the biggie question. Like Dovid asked last week, and a few asked now. Mita motzi on what? What's the cheshbon? Mita motzi on what? 10% of what? 30% of what? 5% of what? Do we go on every pyre? That means you go on a cantaloupe, every pyre you have to see how many percent it is betalom. Or do you go on a package? Do you go on what's the gate? Okay. So we sag gezicht op deze kide, because again, this is a starke Sache. I'll tell you the question even, you should understand it even clearer. Before I said, let's go away from rice, let's go to dates, yeah? Because over here I wanted to go to this. Now, if you check percent, do you check, I bought a pack of rice, yeah? If 10% of the pack of rice is a wormy, is dus the word? Or I'm going to cook now 3 packs of rice. I'm cooking for the yeshiva, and I took is 10% of that, or 10% of each individual? Have the question? Or maybe we have to look at each individual. Maybe you have to look at each. That means if I took a package of rice, I opened it up, I checked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 50 rice, clean? Okay. Maybe that's the cheshbon. You go on every pyre and every rice? Or, is du am jetzt a große Sache how to look. Da groene Rav Yashev mit Ramnese Krelitz, mit the temporary postum haben sich mit dem gekocht. And es ist ausgekommen so. And this makes the most of sense. Ochet. You check how much is the regular what I'm going to eat in one time, or I'm going to cook in one time. What is the amount which I cook in that time? Then also if 10%. That means I'm not looking at the whole store. I'm not looking at the whole world. 10% of rice is wormy, or 10% of dates are wormy. 9. I'm going to eat now dates. I'm going to eat 3 dates, 4 dates. Check 10% of that. If you check 10%, that means if you're going to eat 10 dates, you check 1. If you're going to eat 5 dates, you don't have to check even the ganze. But it's ikaron. You know. So
you find one to check off.
What?
You find one.
Once you find, yeah. But yeah, come here.
Well, I would say it's less than 10%.
It's not less than 10%. You make the cheshbon of 10%. 10% of what I'm going to eat. If I'm going to eat now a pack of rice, 10% is wormy. Then is a problem.
Your 10% region, one of them has a worm in it.
So if I
Ob in 10% do a worm, that means ich getroffen es ist dort lohn.
So if I'm going to eat 100 blueberries.
Yes.
So I check 10 blueberries and I find 1 bug. So
that means that's in
1%.
That what?
That's 1%.
The 1%, yeah. Exactly. 10%, exactly. 10% of them betalum. That means you have to have, if you find, you're going to eat 100 blueberries, if you have to check, if you find 10, if you don't find 10 bugs, then
10 bugs or bugs and 10 blueberries?
10 bugs and 10 blueberries.
So you have 2 bugs and 1 blueberry, it's still considered as 1.
You don't have to check
Why?
all 100 blueberries.
Noch einmal.
You have to check all 100 blueberries.
So wenn ich nehme a package and I'm going to be boydigzan and I'm going to find from the package from 100 blueberries I'm going to find 10 bugs, that means as is a mitamutz.
10 blueberries with a bug in it.
Yeah.
10 blueberries a bug in it, yes.
Out of 100. But not that
Out of 100.
Now, if I take 10 blueberries out of my 100 and I go through it and I find 1 bug, so it's not 10%.
Then you have 1%. That's 1%. 1% out of 100. You checked all 100 and you found 1, that means you found 1%.
Listen, if you have 1 blueberry, there's 5 bugs in it. Then
No, it's can't aber no there. Can't no there is mixing.
I'm eating all 100 blueberries.
So you check. So you start checking, and if you start checking, you see you checked. You don't see even you found 1 which has 5 problem.
Take a bag of rice. You eat a cup of rice, okay?
Yeah.
Take 10% of that, and you find 1 bug in that. How do you quantify that? It's not a blueberry. It's not.
What is your quantify? What do you mean?
You can't. How many bugs need to be in 10% of a cup of rice for me to determine that the whole cup needs to be checked?
Again, you open up a bag of rice. Yeah. You go through the bag of rice. And
the whole bag.
what?
To the whole bag.
Ja, ob die was sehen, als 10% hat Wärme, weiß, dass 10% ist mich betalo. Das heißt, dass sie mich betalo. Reis ist mich
So
betalo.
now I know for the next bag of rice?
So now I know, du hast auch tun, same batch, nicht the same batch. Sehe ich, als Reis ist mich betalo. As whenever I'm going to be boidig talum, and in a regular dose, in ich kann finden 10% of them, weiß ich, als Reis ist a dose, das ist mich betalo.
I'm not finding the worms on the rice. In between the rice.
Das meint ich, das in the
Had
package.
worms.
Ja,
The
10
amount
Wärme.
did you check?
What?
You check in the amount did you check?
In the amount what I checked. That means when a company will visit in Birch Betonum oder nicht, he brings in a batch and starts looking. Ob gecheckt so viel as a batch, will dich wissen batches. Also geht hand alle Sachen. Ich halb schon zu kicken. Und ob sie will sie wissen, Birch Betonum oder nicht Birch Betonum. Ob die halb schon zu sehen a große Prozent. So therefore 10%. Dann weiß das die ganze Sache ist Birch Betonum jetzt.
Let's say I'm a caterer.
Yeah.
I have 1,000 pieces of lettuce. So lettuce.
Oh, it's I'm in it. Ich will kommen zu dem. Again, but Ravoser geht auch nicht so. Sucht, it depends, wie viel ist der Klasse, es ist nicht kein größer Aufkommen, meine ich, aber sucht, wie viel ist ruhig beudig zu sein. That means, if a mensch is beudig, usually when you're beudig a big quantity amount, lo dem, was da machen, der Cash mit 50%. Again, jeder ein 1%, Ravoser will dich suchen als 4%. Aber Akapurim, nicht wie viel die essen, weil Essen ist weniger wie ein Mensch beudig. Wenn ein Person ist beudig, Sachen ist beudig, sagt mehr wie viel. Du hast, will sagen, ja.
How much I usually check, how much people usually check.
Huh?
How much I usually check, how much people usually
Wie viel, es geht nicht die ganze Welt. Jeder hat sich andere Sachen. How much I'm usually checking. In Schleim Salma kommt zu den Kinder. Also wenn ich will beudig sein, Ledes, ja, you don't have to check every leaf. You don't have to, that means, es darf nicht beutig sein, jeder leaf. Ich kann nicht kommen, lass mich, ich hab ein Chasse. Ist der ein Chasse hat das Sachwärm. Ist der ein Chasse ist ein Problem. Aber es ist nicht Bescheid ist, ich hab 10 heads of Chasse. Of 10 heads of lettuce, yeah? Yeah? So I need 10% of, ich kann according to heads of lettuce. Heads of lettuce. Ich kann nicht jede Peire, wie viel hat, nur wie viel heads ist du. So, if I have 100 heads, if I find 10 heads a bug, then it's a problem.
And what you got the outer leaves first and then check it.
Oh, okay, this is noch eine Sache.
Okay, all the outer leaves are the bugs.
The what?
All the outer leaves are the bugs.
Usually the outer leaves, yes, usually the outer leaves is the bugs.
There's-
En een grame.
So if you got outer leaves, it's
Now,
After taking
yes,
the outer
yes, you get all of them. You can take over the leaves, the outer leaves. So basically, die wills boidig zijn lettuce
from the inner leaf, you're saying.
from inner leaves. Yeah, exactly. So, just to sum it up, in the Beshat is so. The amount was ich will noch ich will dich nur sagen, was bisschen gelungen. Ins weiß ich schon Tracy, what is mir gelungen, what not. So it's not. I'm only saying it. The concept. Wieso the matavegestell the system. The system goes. They know. The companies know, or the cash know that this has 50% of it. When you check it, it has leaves, has bugs. This doesn't have this. So in andere Werte, it's only the cheshbon how to do it. Now we know already, like Moshe Vai, all the other books, which tell you which fruits and vegetables are mixed with the So in a way, is ins Weißbüschel. But in Zerendra alles nur wus mit auf Beudig sein. Once we don't with Beudig in alles is fine. Even if you found Talum, it's not a problem. Also, das auch eine Sache von David denken. If you are Beudig lettuce and you found 10 Talum in the letterhead, that doesn't mean you have to throw away the letterhead. You could go through water and clean it and wash it and it's beside it. The same way with everything. Even if you find rice or beans, which is wormy, that means on top of it. I'm not talking when sometimes you have beans which has a hole. I'm not talking about that. That's a problem because you cannot take it out. But if you find bugs in it, so then you go through you boil the ganze package, and if you don't take out all the bugs, you can eat it. Some people, which I had a lady ask me not long ago, I thought that once you find, if you find 3 bugs, then you cannot eat it anymore. That's a different halacha, which we're going to see soon. That's a halacha which has to do with if you didn't check it, and you cooked something which you didn't check, and you want to check it afterwards, 3 bugs. But akapunim, if you find lettuce which has bugs, if you're ready to clean it and rinse it, or whatever food you want to do, that's fine. You can take it off and then you can eat it. There's nothing gedei. Okay, so again, lassen wir es machen zurück derselbe Sache. La Masse is an ungenehmen 10%, which is you sagt, mehr Chummer wie der Rivash, aber much more lenient than Ravosder's Psak Halacha. And this is how usually was the organization on Gain, was on Boidigzan in Suzanne Fine. Okay. Now there is Minam, which the Ein Darke Melasliya. It's not decided it should have worm. Usually it doesn't have worm. V'deim, zugen the Poskim, as even though it's kedai to look at it, even though there are some food which I mentioned last week, I'm going to mention it again, things which is not dark, which is clean, which is avatiach, bananas, avocado, cucumbers, squash, kohlrabi, coconut, coffee, sugar, salt, cinnamon, all those things is ein darke lasliach. So go the African, give a look at it. You know, beoifen, give a kick at it, because I sind starke darke lasliach, nicht als ich gehoif zu wollte gesagt, aber sie bringen als the Gru mit andere Scham, als die Kitchila, sind wir noch viel ein darke lasliach, so war at least a kick to. Okay, aber es ist nicht lauf darf gesagt hoif. Aber sagen wir, sie darke lasliach, which is darke, it should have worm, which I mentioned last week also, which is asparagus, artichoke, scallions. You should know, scallions people are not makbah, but can have a problem. What?
Look at the scallion. The inside.
Scallion, you have to look more in inside. The more when it turns green over there, the green, the heilige green, broccoli, Roma lettuce, petrushka, corn on the cob. Oh, a big problem. Carrot.
The worms are big.
The combs, it's between the shtiklach. It's between this is kernels. Very hard to, what?
Between the kernels?
Between the kernels. So the only way if you want to eat kernel the cob is after you cook it or whatever, you slice it with a knife all the way, you know, take it off from the cob, because it cannot have worm, you slice it down and then you check it. You give a look at it and you say it's clean, it's clean. But kernel cob is a lot of times in summer is mamash a shrek.
What if I buy a bunch of corn on the cob and I take 10% and I check that?
Nachmal?
If I check 10% of the corn on the cob, can I bite into the next corn on the cob?
Nachmal, oib corn on the cob, you check and you see that's not mixed with klum now in this season, so you know it's fine.
About a pack of 100. I check 10 cobs.
10 cobs and you see that it is clean. And yeah. Because sometimes it is fast, sometimes it's not infested always. So I spoke today with one of the meshgichim in the OK, so he told me that the national organizations have there's Dixum is the biggest problem today's day in kashas, because it's, again, as I mentioned last week, it's a sira deraisa. You know, we have ingredients of Thomas Epps Geschehen. I feel it's a problem, I feel it's a strife, to do bittel, to do genik tzarifim, you can go through. But when it comes to Taluam, you have 6 lavim. And it's vetnish butel. It's a very vetnish butel. It's big problems. So they said they work together, and they report. He says our mashgiach counts all day, every day on checking fields. That's the mission. Going around checking fields, and they share information between the other organizations. Some sind ein bisschen mehr Michael, aber kapunem. They're working hard at this because this is one of the biggest problems which we have in Medikas Talum. And again, andere Sachen weet Buttel. Kann sich ein Einzig geben. But when it comes to Medikas Talum, you're talking about the rices, and you know it's not a joke. You know. Okay. So again, all this. So we said there are all the things which is not mixed with Talum. Darf man nicht beutig sein, it's kedai to give a look, but that's about it. But that's only if you didn't find one. Once you found, happens to be, but you have an avocado, you start seeing worm. Then things change. For instance, why I'm bringing it? Because there was a small kifa which cherry tomatoes had worms, which is, it's not mixed with talum. Cherry is not mixed with talum, especially in America. So, but again, there was a kifa which then the cash organization said that slice it up in the middle. Give a check. So once you have a problem, then avad the kimivin, there's no heter. But the kapurim b'derech klal, you don't have to be machlat that has a problem, and you could go. Now, once you have a thing which is michzik b'taluam, then you cannot sample. A pyre with a michzik b'taluam is kemen a shet nach bodig zan jedes mut nach bodig zan gseit. That means, oib in the season now, Karl the Kab is michzik b'taluam, then has to helfen 10%. Then about helfen 10%. 10% helfen, wenn ich will wissen, the season when is michzik b'taluam. I mean, ich say it's not michzik b'taluam. But if you know, let's say, for a season which you know, the organizations know, it's michzik b'taluam, in such a case, helft nicht kann mit Gamim. Helft nicht zu nehmen a pur speak. Der wird auch ein bisschen jeder eins, wegen sie michzik b'taluam.
Michzik b'taluam means that more than 50% of the corns have bugs in them.
Michzik b'taluam is more than 50% had bugs in it, yeah.
So that means you get 100 things of corn, 50 of them will have
50% bugs, then you know that then you have to go through everything.
Then you check another batch and you check 20 and had no bugs in it.
Nochmal, auf dem suche ich, ob das ist michzik b'taluam, die Sache ist jetzt, das ist michzik b'taluam, ist es michzik b'taluam. Darfst du schon beide sein, jede Sache.
Das ist für verschiedene Plätze, von wann zu Kind.
Ja.
Kann sein, Korn, das kommt von New York, und Korn, das kommt von California.
Ist nicht so Sache. Ist in der Name. Ob lassen wir sagen, in California ist es michzik b'taluam, in New York hat man beide gesagt, nicht michzik b'taluam. Ist ja nicht michzik b'taluam. Geht das rein in der Gegend. I don't know, das darf man wissen, darf man fragen. Es ist taka so, as it changed.
The Matthias is.
Yeah, as it's different, but the Matthias is like a worm. Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
Places, different,
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Different varieties.
One time I opened a pack of raspberries. Like I don't know, one out of every 5.
One raspberries is infested.
It's not
That's michzik b'taluam. Raspberries kemen shest. There's no such a thing. Any kosher organization will let you eat raspberries. Raspberries, nobody. Blended is a andere Sache. Man bald redt wegen blended. Aber man redt essen raspberries.
If I check anything and I find that 1 out of 5 have bugs, that's michzik b'taluam.
The what?
No,
if you go through every raspberry and it's clean, makes it essen. Aber mit der Body sei jeder eins. Nein, once es im michzik b'taluam ist der jeder eins. Es ist nicht kamit amotzi. Once es im michzik b'taluam misst der jeder Stück.
How do you check a raspberry?
I don't know. You have to know. I never tried even to eat raspberries.
I don't think.
I heard that you can't check them.
We can check them now.
Like broccoli also.
Because when you take it so it melts in your fingers. It breaks, it mushes.
Yeah, this is the thing which they write. This is the thing which they write constantly. Raspberries is it's off limits. It's do Sachen was even in the books. Raspberry. It's called Israel. It's called petal. Yeah, I think it's called petal. No.
Yeah.
So it's the they have stars. Which one is michzik? Which one is meat emutzi? Which one is off limits? It's kedai to have the Moshe Vai's book. It helps you a lot. Moshe Vai, he's one of the biggest mimchim.
In English?
I don't know if he has it in English.
Yeah,
I think he has it in English.
In English it's 1 volume, in Hebrew it's 3
Three volumes.
One thing.
Yeah, and then he has a soft cover also in Hebrew, a kitzer. You know, yeah.
So it's probably the English.
No, it's a Hebrew one. I have it in Hebrew. A kitzer. The cipher is called Cipher B'dikis Talum. And it's you have pictures of everything, and it tells you every trip, what trip and which bog is on which. It's very nice. Then there's another thing which is called from Shnei Revach. That's also a big mimich and it's role Antalom. His name is Talat Shuni, 2 volumes. Okay, so to get, because again, this is the thing which every household has to have. Because again, you don't want to, had ich habe gesagt einmal, was steht in Kreis Pleisia, the reason why we see the youth today's day is looks like is because they essen the Wurm Asirem, wie Taluam mit andere Sachen, nicht der Kreis Pleisia, the Prichudish. And I think that's why we see the Machzufam big chutzpah, so the Prichudish. Because das alles ist immer geäst, everything wegen worms, Sachen. And today's the Baruch Hashem is doing so many methods how to help to check it, what you can, and they have books which gives you. So there's no reason to No, it takes time, takes effort, takes time and effort. What?
In the yeshiva we make our own food, like for Shabbos and sometimes breakfast, sometimes supper. So we learned all this. So we had the other books, but all three people, the 3 volumes, and we always listen how to check this and this, and every bacher asks, and everybody chooses everyone.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. So after that, after we got married, we were the biggest experts in.
Fine, that's good because a lot of people do not know. Some people check, but they don't know what to check. So therefore, we have to know what to check too. Okay, let me go water. There are things which is not mixed b'talum, as I mentioned before. But if you don't store it well, it will become b'talum. Then you have to check it. But then it's enough of sampling. If you sample it and you see that basically it's not mixed b'talum, that means you don't see worm, then it's fine. It's not nachish kachazukah. It is only it wasn't stored properly for a long time. Then at least you have to boidik, but then sampling will be good enough. Food, which is basically, which you have to be boidik, and you can be boidik, like raspberries, is also ba'achila. Anything which you cannot check, then it's also ba'achila.
Why can't
Things which you cannot check. It's impossible. Like he just said that petal. There are things which is almost impossible to check. Which you know what is one of the things it is? Broccoli is one of the things which is very hard to check. Very hard to check. But over there, you have a washing system. They have special washing systems, and they have greenhouses. They have a lot of things. That's why today's day, when I was a child, Bianca, when you were down, you ever ate broccoli?
When I was a child, yeah.
When I was a child, not. Okay, it looks like the few years of difference made the difference. No such thing as broccoli or cauliflower. It was off limits. Corn we ate. But we didn't eat broccoli.
They're frozen.
Yeah, today's day is frozen. Today's day is frozen. That's the mala. Because frozen goes to a process and goes to... okay.
people soak the broccoli and salt?
Yes. This is the way how to... Again, this is the books, how to write, how to do it. How to... most of the things which let us also when you check it with salt water. You put it soap or salt water, and then you rinse it and you check it with a cloth. There's methods which the kasher organizations have good methods, and I remember when I took training in the OU, talking about over 20 years ago. So one of the things we had to go to restaurants, and they had a very high class restaurant in Manhattan which had the OU, very high class. And they had a mashgiach, which they had all kind of greenery, which you were not even accustomed to eat. And they had a mashgiach full-time in a restaurant. That was his job. D'kingstáan. Only be boidik over there, shtikl by shtikl. No? So again, there's method how to do it. In today's day, Baruch Hashem, there's the frozen ones. So you don't have fresh broccoli. So you don't have, it's gefährlich. Same as with strawberries. If you know how to wash it and to peel it, okay. If you don't know, at least today's day when there is frozen strawberries, is it as good as fresh one? No. But again, it's his Torah. I'm gonna get Mitchem now or maybe the next final week. What happened that today's day there's so much and why once upon a time we didn't have this problem. We're going to get to it, push it practical, and we're going to see there's a lot of changes happened, and therefore we are more exposed today's day to bugs. I think letters which you start looking and you see some leaves have bugs, then you have to check everything. Although inside not necessarily as is a buggy, but once as the trough of the letter head, then you have to check it all the way.
If you check off leaves and don't have the niche full head.
The what?
If you check a couple leaves, have a full head, and check.
If you have a couple
10 leaves.
The what? And
no bugs.
And it's clean. When you come outside is clean, then usually inside you're not going to find anything. Okay, now there are foods which is darkel asliach, which has the derech is you should have worm, and seduachiv bedike. Yeah, as I mentioned before, you have to check everything, and you cannot, most of it. Once it's a thing which is chiv bedika, that means once you have a chiv bedika, then it is geworden as darkem that means darkem you should have bugs. That's with this season. This is dark. Then you have to check everything. You cannot take Rav as the Rashba. Chivas Rashba says okay. The Rebbe brings this plalucha. Okay, now what's doing about eating by grinding it? Yeah, it's a common question. Can I buy strawberries and make a smoothie? Yeah, that's okay. Adalochi is azoi. A food which is bechive bedike, sai mixig betelum, sai even meat hamotzi, you cannot grind it in order that you should be able to eat it, to avoid, if kavanusoi is to grind it because you don't want to be boidik, ob dus de kavuna, toman es stehen. Because ferish aloch in shechanurach, ein mevatel is a lekchila. So now, this is mixing betelum, or even si meat hamutzi, you have to be boidik. That means hot a meat hamutzi as hot betelum, to go and to grind it lekchila kavanusoi, the guy as a guy as it's kedai is shkana boidik zam, is ein mevatel is a lekchila. If you are grind something because you didn't want to be boidig, that means shloike din to be mevatel the iser. Again, that's the kavona to be mevatel the iser. It's also for the person who made it, who grinded it, and even for the person who made it for. That means if I made something for my neighbor, even I'm not going to eat it, it's also for me, it's also for them. If I'm kavanusoi, if the kavana was not to grind it to get away from the box, to levat leisen, that means you don't know if it has bugs or not. You don't know, which is b'pashtas, when you have a food which you don't know if it has bugs. It's not, you don't know for sure. The halacha is when you know, as chiv bedike, vals is mixig betrum mit hamutzi. If it's grinded, again, if it's grinded below bedike, oibes is a machel, and you did it specially because you wanted to be mevatel, aber gut is es user. Oiber het nicht gewusst, as du box. You didn't know. Es ist taka Sache, was ist mixig betalom oder afini mit hamutzi, but you didn't know. Ich kimt daran, ein Mensch, ich gewusst, ich hab die Sache. Gemeint, es ist boidig, es ist clean. Of dem, sucht man bei the evet, he can eat it. He or to whom I made it. So again, if kavanuso is litchon to grind it in order to be mevatel the what is it called, the worm, it's also to eat. If you didn't know that it's a thing which is a worm, that wasn't kavun. You wanted to make smoothie because you wanted to make smoothie, not because you wanted to have this. It's with the evet zamitar.
So that.
But one second. But if even in such a case, a person knows a thing has worm, raspberry, for instance, a person knows has worm. If you grind it in order that you want to sift it in a way that only the liquid should go through, and all the food which the worm is a part of it will not go through, then you could do it like tchila. That means if a person wants to have the juice of it, and he doesn't want to sifts it, in order that he shouldn't be able to, he wants the outcome, the juice of him, but not the otrishka problem. Even when he knows has worm, because he's going to sift it. So it's nicht mehr is like tchila, and because of the taste is vetes the shuser.
So if you buy,
but that's machel which is b'derech klal negua. But if it is a machel which is not b'derech klal negua, but and you checked it a little bit, or you made a method which makes it that it's not b'derech klal negua, mitla tochman. So let's go like this. We have strawberries which went through a washing system, which today's day, most of the, even which doesn't have the malach shayra, even though I think doesn't have this, no, but has to have some hechsher. Has to have some hechsher. That means taking fresh strawberries and grind it because you don't want to be it's an usar. But if you buy any
You wash the strawberries.
Keep it a minute. But if you have any strawberries which the company rinsed it, went through a system, and to do epsa even if a hechsher which you are going to rely, then if you grind it, it's not a problem. Then if you grind it, it's not a problem. Because over here, habe ich schon nicht 100% Chazukah to do, was assist cleaning. So now what he says, if you know how to wash strawberries, you put it into a wash with some soap and you wash it, you rinse it, then for sure you could be Michael to grind it and to eat it. Now,
a lot of hechsherim don't put their hechsher on the strawberries because it has bugs in it.
Yeah, and the companies which put on hechsher, the heimish hechsher, or good hechsherim, go through a system which washing it. It's not, they don't put it.
To grind the
They wash it, goes to a freeze dry.
The company's washing it.
That's not enough. So that was how to wash it. Just washing it is everything. They wash everything. Not
for bugs.
what?
Sherm is usually not for bugs.
Yeah.
You buy dates, you're okay.
No, not now. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about strawberries. Yeah. Strawberries or frozen blueberries. There's frozen blueberries. All these things on my action. There's a lot of companies which have, but love in some
cherries. Yeah,
what?
Cherries you buy from USA, they're not. I don't know.
Cherries, in USA is not mixed with the
right,
room.
But from Turkey, yeah, and we saw with Turkey.
Oh, it's true. And it has a.
I think you have a
Who gets a hechsher?
I don't remember. No, not a hamish.
Okay, but is a shrab as who's shrab is that? Einzig bedike?
No, that for sure not. They didn't write anything.
So what does that mean? Hechsher what? Okay, nein. Ich rede doch aber a Sache, wo es ist beizem, schraben etwas a hechsher, then you have no issue to grind it.
What's up to grind it?
What? You don't to make
grind it, still have pieces.
What?
Put it in a smoothie, there's still pieces in the smoothie.
Oh, is do some from the chassidische Hechsheire which say it's not enough. Because who tells you that could be you didn't get grinded? Because you have some shtiklach.
Especially
but
home blenders, the particles are bigger than the bugs.
Okay. Ich kann sagen, was man sagt, ich bin ja Michael. Ich sage, dass we have the companies which said, as I'm gewaschen, vergrinding mit Masken. Why? Because sofkes habe ich a Zweckzweig. Sofkes habe ich a Zweckzweig. Ich habe a Suffolk, as there's a bug. In Chabasufak, maybe it got shredded because when the grinder gets shredded, sie kann fuhren zwischen den Mochen, but sie kann auch nicht fuhren zwischen den Mochen. Es kann werden zerschnitten. So kommt noch alles als Sufak, as can it got shredded. Once it got shredded, it's going to bootle. The only problem is when it's a shulam, and when it's a shulam, I have a problem as it nicht bootle. If Chabasufak, maybe it got grind, it got sliced off the head of even a tiny piece, it's schon can do a shulam. Now it's true, it could go through that so nicht werden grinded. But it could also go through the grind. The fuchs have a Zweckzweig. What? Yes, Zweckzweig is yeah. So Zweckzweig. Chabasufik sich habe gat a bug. And even if I got a bug, my getaise as ganz. So therefore, in such a case, again, that's why I want at least as a little epis adus as much as gewaschen. Or if you are going to wash it good, then what the chok is the same. Safka sav yosuf sich nach box, has gewaschen. I went through, put it in soap water and I rinsed it on the hot water. It's a kind of half geblieben. We're not big memchem in the washing, but I have even genik. And when you grind it, some kind of now I know there are some chassidische or chachshe that are not masculine to it. But as others are masculine, and I feel man darf nicht, darf nicht schwach sein. What?
Blueberries are mostly
Blueberries are mit amutze, nicht mixed with the room. Nein, nicht mixed with the room. Aber sie mit amutze.
If it's frozen, it has an OU from Walmart. Let's say it's washed for sure, and they have an OU in it.
Grinding it is fine.
But not to eat it plain.
Nein, we're eating it plain. Ob sie stritzt haben, sie streitet als einzelne Medike, which I don't know if they have it. They don't have it.
Check it. How would I
What?
How would I check it?
If you look in the books, how you check it. The problem with the blueberries, which people shall have, the problem with the blueberries, it has fins. It's things which you cannot see that much. It's not. They don't have worms. They have mites and
Scales?
and scales. They have mite and scales. And mite and scales has a problem. First of all, it's not so easy to see. And the bigger problem is, as the washing, it sticks very much to the pyra. So not necessarily the washing is going to get it, but the crown. The bigger problem is the crown. That is the problem.
And the scales,
If somebody
and the scales are outside.
scales are outside, the scales are outside.
Like on blueberries, there's very tiny spots. That could be scales. Or
That could be scales. Yeah.
But everything has a lot of things have those things.
That has what?
Like an orange or something.
Oranges have big ones, but you peel it off. Now in Lakewood, these duatakis they made a whole balagan that you shouldn't drink Tropicano because, especially when there is pulp. They made and they fought Don Olivier 4 years there, 4 or 5, maybe even more. But the Welt hat es schon genommen. You peel it, you take it off, and you know.
And even by them, they wash it.
Oh, they wash it. Yes, it's again. The problem. One of the problems is. Let me make one of the problems is like this. A young man who has a lot of time, he starts seeing a bug, and if he sees a bug, first of all, there's WhatsApp. So automatically, right away, he sends out a WhatsApp. Getroffen a bug, and I think which is not makes a bit alone. For instance, an avocado, could be, aber es wird noch nicht mit. So. But over is a undryer, you can dry the gas. So that's why it's always to be in contact. And I try to have as much as contact with all the mashgicha kashras of the national organizations and of the chassidische, because then you got the picture, you know, what, when, where, and where, how to go about it. What?
By opening up an onion, and a bunch of bugs start coming out.
Yeah, because onion, nine depends on times. There are times, for instance, now. I'll show you afterwards. For instance, now, when around an alert, that it's mixed with them now. This season, so what is the ice? It's only on top. So again, you peel up the outer, which everybody does anyways, and cut in about, I think they write a quarter of an inch. Slice off from the top, then you, from the top.
Where's the hole inside?
If you slice off,
If there's the hollow in the middle?
if there's a hollow in the middle, habe ich mal reingefragt. Aber das haben wir check. Aber regular, say, I think they said a quarter of an inch. I have to check it over again. You slice it. In Bamash, yes, this week they sent around about this. You know, I didn't want to post it on Kasha because when people are very ragish for these things. Yeah, getting is much worse. Always getting is much more mitzvah b'talom. You should remember that. So, getting is always more. There's more.
The bugs are in the crown of the onion.
On the top.
So where the scallions come out.
Yeah, over there. And if it has scallions, it's right. The right also. Once you have it starts sprouting, then you know it's a problem. Then b'chlal is a problem. So the once it starts bringing a simon has nothing to do with it.
No. What?
Once
So it's going because it's
Sitting for what? Which
so what?
Scallion?
No. An onion when it gets start growing, it start like a skimtarosa stickel. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have it. You don't see that much, but
then it's more open inside.
okay, because that's the reason. Yeah.
Well,
So again,
if you leave onions out, they'll start growing.
yeah. No, Mila.
So then they have bugs in them.
Then again, if you leave it out and if it's easier to get the bugs, then if it's not stored properly, again. Nochmals, es ist nicht, dass dort nach schon beutig sein oder umschnaben.
How is
So a kapur ach einmal nicht, wie haben wir gehalten, du?
Then you can't keep the onion overnight.
Now the same will be also a person. This is auch the poskim sal gebot of terms. A person which was boidik as much as he can. He was boidik. He wants to have strawberries, wants to have blueberries, and he checked proper according to the what years ago. But he has always the mitzpon. Maybe I didn't do it correctly. Zung da achroinam. If a person did as much as he can, he did the maximum, whatever he can, then he has no issue to grind it. I feel like weil that's the kavonus because he's afraid. Then he has no. Got on the gator fin.
Again, you're saying to grind it. Even
To grind it. No, if you're boydek and you check this clean, you cast a of them. But some people, this is a field. I don't know how good I did it. So therefore, for grinding
you
it,
should grind it.
they are allowed to grind even the it's called kavanuse is because they want to make a story because they want to have the yeah. Noch a Sache sucht der Terzuof, as whenever you kavun is something else, not to grind, even if not to grind the worm, that's fine. For instance, the halacha is a shechanurich is you can eat honey. Now honey has pieces of bee. Zukt of them the shechanurich. It's permitted to cook it, yeah. And do we have what?
The pieces of the bee dissolve in the honey.
Yeah, dissolves in the honey by cooking it. By cooking it, it dissolves. So zukt the terzuof so kasastil. So I'm not islit chila. Of them zukt of them the terzuof. As kavanus is nicht to dissolve the honey. The kavanus is honey have to be non-raw. Today is popular to have raw, but usually honey comes.
Honey's a problem.
No, raw honey darf ich nur mal hechsher. Raw honey, das sagt, das darf man schon bisschen hechsher, weil dort kannst du sagen, sticklich. Sticklich.
They look for sticklich?
No, cancer they filter it.
And which part with it's butter. It's not full bee.
The what?
It's not full bee. It's butter.
No, aber a Stückchen von einer Bee du kannst nicht essen.
That's the butter of honey.
If you see it, das ist auch ein mistake.
So then why do you need a hechsher? If you see it, you see it. Buy the honey, you look inside the honey.
You are going to check at it? And when you buy honey, you're going to start checking? No, there's tiny things which you can see, but not, if you don't, how many things which said it has bugs? You could see worm on strawberries?
Sometimes.
So, all the times, if not, what's going to again, but if you don't,
it's a piece
again, if you have a piece of bee, a piece of the legs of the bee is inside in the honey, then it's a problem. So therefore, if you filter it, it's fine. I don't know if you can filter it. Can you? You can't filter it because you have to warm it up. The zugich there, but or raw.
And then it becomes a liquid.
So
It's not taking to cook it.
So the raw, they warm a little bit or low temperature, but something they say raw unfiltered. They also has a
Okay. But again, ich will rausbringen nur der Luche. Ich bin nicht reingekommen jetzt. Ich will rausbringen den Kiddas, whenever the Kiddas Advurim is, whenever you kavana is not only to make the honey, and part of them you're going to dissolve the bee, it's not a problem. So therefore, whenever you are doing something, and the kavana is not because you want to dissolve the bee, the kavana is because you want to make a product, let's say, Pareya or whatever it is. Kavanus if you kochen is nicht, Prunjan, demels, as I fall heißt einmal nicht, it's okay.